So ladies, I have another devotion for you here, and this is a more somber one. I title it The Dark Night, and it's taken primarily from Genesis chapter 37. And this is the account, of course, of Joseph, who was the favorite son of Jacob. And you recall that Jacob gave Joseph instructions to go and check on his brothers who were with Jacob's flocks, and then to return and give him a report on what his brothers were doing. Well, his brothers, who hated Joseph and were jealous, caught wind of this, and so they decided among themselves to be in a different location so that when Joseph got there, he wouldn't find them. And sure enough, when Joseph got there, there was really no sign of his brothers. But there happened to be an individual there, and we'll go back to this later. I don't think this was by coincidence at all, who told Joseph where his brothers had gone. And so Joseph, heeding the individual's instructions, and I think this person really was an angel, went, and sure enough, he found his brothers. And no sooner had he arrived than his brothers took him, threw him in a cistern, and then within a day or two, he was sold into slavery in Egypt. And for the next 7 to 10 years, this began the period of what I call the dark night for Joseph, in which a lot of the distractions of his previous life were forcibly stripped away from him. And as a result, this forced Joseph to engage in probably the most fundamental and greatest work that any believer, either past or present or future, can ever engage in. And that is, he was forced to quote unquote be still and know that I am God. And ladies, it is my opinion that until we are forced into that kind of a situation, we don't really know God. We might talk about him, in our lunchrooms. We might talk about him with people at work. We might even talk about him with people at church. But until we are forced to quote unquote be still and know that I am God, we're not really touched. We're not really changed in any great way. And let me go back to what I said previously, that I don't believe that it was a mistake that Joseph was directed to where his brothers were. I think God was behind the dark night. The Lord knew full well what Joseph would get into with his brothers, but he knew also that that was the only real way to really change Joseph. And so it's my opinion that God can be behind the suffering that we go through, but for the sole purpose, as painful and as horrific as it may seem at the time, to bring us into a true relationship with Him, a relationship that can only be brought to us when we're willing to be still and know that He is God. God bless you both.